We hear the topic now, that because I think it's very serious that unless we put much emphasis to say how do we enforce agriculture, we might sit and say economy is going down, but at the same time, are we producing enough? Are we active enough in terms of that?
Well, I think, certainly water scarcity is not the reason why there's been contraction in the agricultural sector. If you look at the agricultural sector over the years, it's quite an emotive, land is quite an emotive issue in our country and has been for a long time. But what you are seeing, and traditionally where what I call generational farmers, where specifically mostly Afrikaans-speaking farmers, where over time there's been a decrease in the number of future generation wanting to take over those farming activities. So that unfortunately has led to that there's been a decrease. What you also would have seen is that there has been a decrease, there's been an increase in game farming. So a lot of the game farming as an agricultural activity has superseded your traditional beef farming, which or even meat farming for over the years. So we've had unfortunately a uptake in game farming. And game farming is a lot easier to manage. You don't have to hire a whole lot of people. You can leave your game on your farm. So if you look at, and I do travel the country quite a bit, if you look at areas around, specifically, if you look at places around Fireside, where traditionally these were beef and cattle farms have now been turned into game farms. But how does government, maybe the question is that how do we deal with introducing young people into the farming community? I'm a big believer that we should by now have built agricultural colleges in each of the provinces, which we should be taking an intake of about 1,000 young kids a year, which makes around 9,000. And those are the ones, there's no point in having land without the skills to do what you do with it and the resources to do it. And if you see some of our land distribution policies that we've done and some of the agricultural mentorship, it's also been the fact that we've allowed politically connected individuals to take over some of those farms with little knowledge, while we could have built agricultural colleges in each of the provinces, which will give us an intake over time of about 9,000 students a year. And that, I think, is the only way that you are able to address some of the challenges around food security.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for elaborative response to that. I believe that young people, we had, especially on the speech, that we have fourth industrial revolution, but we have to focus much and say, how do we protect our country? How do we protect the world by venturing into the businesses that can help? And that being the line of maybe comment, I just want to check, because based on your profile, which is so profound, and you've been part of the industry for longer, and what I've noticed is that you've been in the IT space, in the technology space, and your contribution has been there, and which has been immense. How ready are we as a nation for the fourth industrial revolution? Because when you look at South Africa, we're talking about it now, but the first world has been talking about it in 2013, 20, somewhere there, back then. But to us, it's like it's a new thing altogether. But are we ready for this to take the country forward?
Well, I think we are a very resilient country, and I'm pretty sure young South Africans will rise up to the challenge. We still have a backlog of education. We still live in a country that we have inequalities around education, and private education, unfortunately, has become a business on its own, and you can see with the likes of Habitat, Kiro, in comparison to the likes of Kenya and Nigeria, which are countries that I frequently visit. They seem to be well ahead in terms of producing graduates who have the computer science degrees, who have the coding, I think, education to back that up. And you will see the likes of Google, Amazon are looking at some of our counterparts to invest in building delivery centers. But once again, I've always said we're resilient enough that if we can fix some of the challenges around education in this country, we certainly can be part of the fourth industrial revolution.
Thank you for that, sir. And you co-founded Breakfast.
Yes.
And what I just want to share with you is, would you encourage somebody at this age to start a business from the garage, or will there be a need for funding?
Well, look, and I'll just look back at my own personal story with my late brother. One of the things is the fact that financial institutions by their nature are not yet ready to back young entrepreneurs. In actual fact, part of our success was that people saw potential in us and invested seed capital in those days was 96 or 4 million rand for us to be able to start a business. So South Africa, we have to accept the fact that some young entrepreneurs that we're going to back may not necessarily succeed. We actually have to allow for failure. And I think it's as a young person, you battle to raise finance. And I think just also the bureaucracy of getting funding from the likes of the IDC, NEF, even PRC. For a lot of our young people, it's frustration. And we've created, unfortunately, barriers for a lot of young people that if you're not politically connected, you don't know somebody, your chances of success they become less, and which is very unfair for a country that's trying to get itself to deal with unemployment, inequality. I think access for startups should be readily available, and I think it should be a lot easier. We're complicating it. And I could imagine if you're a young person, you keep on putting in an application, nobody's guiding you with you how to put it together, how to package it. And eventually, as you think you're getting closer, you get told that, look, if you want to look after somebody else. And then, so I think if we can move away from a level of corruption that is endemic in our society, we've also, I think we're in a position, I think that we also making young people feel that I've graduated, I've done all these things, and it's such a battle to get going, either in my career or in the business that I want to start. So and certainly I would encourage people to back off your car, start something, but certainly it's important.
Funding would be very
funding is a difficult part.
To have access to. We have had talks about digital migration for some times now. And when I remember the due date keeps on shifting and shifting and shifting, could it be that we have a challenge in terms of policies, or could it be that we don't have enough skills that can implement whatever programs that we want to implement as a country?
I think the digital migration is a typical infighting within the ruling party of what the direction should be. There's no point. We have the skills to digitally migrate. It's also about self-interests, where the interests of the country are not put first. The citizens are not being put in front, rather self-interest. So the digital migration, to me, it's an issue that should have long happened. Absolutely, but I think it's a question of who's going to be winning what and who's going to be. And the days of closed, anyway, in my view, we live in a society where our communications, our systems should be open so that it allows more people to integrate. We can't have closed loops and integration of that.
Thank you very much. As for me, I have one last question to say. As an independent, non-executive director of Exxaro, would you encourage entrepreneurs to set up board in their small businesses? Or at what level can they say now we can have a board of directors in our company?
Well, I think the most important part, if you're a young entrepreneur, it's important that you seek mentorship, align with people who've got the same values as you, and open yourself to criticism, and surround with people that are able to mentor you and guide you. But certainly one of the things that I remember when I started a business with my late brother was the fact that we insisted on governance from day one. I think you got to separate between your business and private matters. So you can't, expense stuff that are personal into the business. And why? Because if you put those disciplines in place, it's a lot easier to sell your business further down the line. It's a lot easier to raise money on your income statement, on the balance sheet, if you're a well-governed business, because you've taken the time to have proper audited financial statements. But it's important. I still believe that we don't give enough mentorship to young people. One of the things that I do enjoy is once a year I go to San Francisco and in Silicon Valley, where people are happy to share why they failed and what they could have done better. And there are people who say, listen, if you'd done the following, you would not have failed. So there's a learning culture. People want to share ideas. And I think it's important for young entrepreneurs to have access to forums like that. I mean, one of the forums is YPO, Young Presidents, which is available, but we need to have better structures to give support to young entrepreneurs.
Thank you, sir. I'll just allow one question from this side, one question from this side, one question from this side if you have. Okay, I see some hands up. I'll take a gentleman and I'll take the lady there. I might come back to you, sir. Don't lose hope. And here we don't have. I'll take, but yesterday was Ladies' Day, right? Today's gentleman, right? But it's fine, okay. Then I'm gonna take you. Can I take you two so that we can have 4 questions, then we are done? Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. My question is very short. If, for instance, you were to sit with President Ramaphosa in terms of getting the right people for the right jobs, because what I've realized in recent past is that we do have graduates, for instance, in this space, but you find that the guys that they, for instance, telecommunications, the guys that are entrusted in ensuring that certain policies are implemented and participation of young people is there. But there isn't much that they have done so far in terms of that, because we can go to school, we can school our kids and so forth, but if they are not getting the opportunity and support from the powers that be, we'll still be here 20 years from now. Thank you.
Let me respond to that. One of the most unfortunate part, patronage, which has led to where we are, is that we've allowed people who've had access, despite lack of that qualification and competency, to occupy those senior positions. And in so doing, and you could imagine if you've been put in a position where you may not have the right skills and the competency, it's not necessarily that you're going to go find the best people under you. It's actually you're going to go and hire people. Less mediocrity comes into government, and I think that's a reason why even when our Minister of Finance, when you said the other day that we should have 25 ministers, he's been 100% right. And you could look what's happening in Ethiopia today, which has been quite a great story. I think almost half the ministers are women. One. Secondly, the whole cabinet, minimum they've got is PhDs in the areas of expertise that they've been put in. And South Africa does not lack that. There are individuals in this country who've got the right competencies, the right qualifications, who should be at the forefront in driving policy. So it starts at the top. I mean, I think then we can hire more and more competent people, and young graduates can come through. The reality is that young graduates today feel defeated because they do not trust, even when they do apply for jobs in private sector or even worse in public sector, that there's actually a fair system of actually appointing the right people for the right jobs.
Good morning. My question to you, I'm a young farmer, but I'm only substantial. I farm for just a couple of people that I live around with. So I want to branch into going commercial, as well as move from commercial, and I'd also like to go into exportation as well. So I'd like to know what systems are there in place for myself.
Well, I mean, one of the challenges, I think, and I think why a lot of people are disencouraged to get into the farming is access to capital. And some of those initiatives which the Land Bank should be driving is the programs around young farmers. And you know, one thing which is funny now, we talk about the fourth industrial revolution. If you visit a lot of farms out in the US specifically, they are so automated. It's actually quite. You actually don't need an intensive labor force like we've done in our country, where our farms have become so labor intensive. Technology will drive that. I think the IoT, Internet of Things, will be party to that. But once again, it's funding. I think young people today, and even young and up and coming farmers, battle with access to funding. And Land Bank should be a catalyst in encouraging young farmers and putting them through. Agricultural Research Council is one which works closely with Land Bank, but identifying young farmers, putting them through a program in allowing them to become commercial farmers. Because it's almost the same concept I always say. People say you must be SMME. You can't be SMME all your life. At some stage you need to graduate and be a medium-sized business and eventually be a big business.
Next question.
Hi, my question is, we are always advised that you shouldn't start a business with your family or your friends, but those are the likely people that you're able to communicate with and communicate your ideas with. And we've seen you start a business with your brother, which is JC listed, the BCX. So how would you advise us about the dynamics of the business, starting a business with your family and making it a success as you have done?
Look, one of the things I can tell you, your family and friends are the people likely to give you the seed capital. And you can ask Raymond Ackerman when he started Pick and Pay. You can ask Steve Kosse when they started investing. Most of the money came from family and friends. So I think you've got to differentiate that. Are you looking for family and friends to put money in, seed capital as investors? So that ticks the box, because that's probably the easiest fundraising one can find, is when your family members are willing to put a bit of money behind you because they honestly believe in you. But family is the dynamics of family is a contribution of each individual, and I think you need to wear a hat that, as much as I like to have my family work with me, what skill set are they bringing to the table? And in that particular skill set I'm bringing, are they the best that I can get? Not for the sake, because so it's also very important that you have those hard discussions about contribution. What's your contribution to the workplace, to the business? It's the same conversation you would have with somebody who's not your family member. You would want them to come and contribute to your business, not for the sake that we're all family, we're all going to be together. Because certainly you may all be family members, but you may not have the same work ethic, you may not have the same value system, and you may not have the same passion and hunger in what you're trying to achieve. So people are aligned with your passion and hunger, family or not, those are the people that you want in your team.
Last question. That's going to be the last question.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. I think we need to demystify a few aspects in terms of the food security discussion. Firstly, because this is something that I'm passionately involved in. In terms of the education, the agricultural schools, and people have been told that you need to venture into engineering and other careers, marketing, as opposed to the agricultural part inside schools. So there are schools, but in terms of support, they're still not getting the necessary support, especially from the corporate sector, which are the guys who actually have the financial muscle to support those schools in order to push ahead in terms of fostering the food security and addressing that question. And then also, I think from the corporate side, we need to also get more consistent and accurate assistance towards addressing the food security. So I'm happy that Exxaro is engaging on food security as one of their concerns. But in terms of the corporate social responsibility, I think we need to do more than paint schools on Mandela Day in terms of supporting the food security issue, which corporates need to actually step up to the plate in terms of assisting with. And then also, we talk about politicians not delivering, but we as people, we also need to...
Is the question there, or would that be a comment?
No, I'm getting to the question.
No, let's get to the questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
In terms of the question, I think we are well aware of these. So, what sort of commitments, besides just the minor social corporate responsibility issues that corporates are investing in, are we going to be seeing going forward?
Look, I'm certainly, one of the things is that I'm excited about the new dawn of where we are as a country, where we're almost on the verge of total collapse. But let me put it this way to you. Corporate, by its nature, needs a policy certainty. When there's policy certainty, and interestingly enough, I was at a forum about 2 weeks ago, one of the most important part is that in most countries, corporate and government are aligned, are partners. For a very long time, in the last 9 years, 10 years of our country, corporate has been seen as the enemy. And government is not engaged, in my view, in a more fruitful manner in achieving some of the social, we do have social challenges that we need to deal with. And you're right, it can't just be about just the Mandela Day, but also it's important enough that we, as well as corporate South Africa, the way we engage with government, we need to be partners of how do we make South Africa better. We make South Africa better by certainties, policy certainties. You can look what's happened around the mining charter as example. We're no longer the darling of investors all over the world. We always think that we are only one. You just have to go look at Rwanda, what Rwanda has done today compared to what we could have achieved in terms of free access of internet, Wi-Fi, agriculture, infrastructure that's been put in place. This is a partnership, and a partnership that generally is in the interest of South Africans, not on certain individuals. And that's the reason why I'm excited about the new dawn, and certainly we're going to have to work closely with government and push it back. But people need certainty, and you can't be in an economy that's continuously we're in a recession currently, and everybody's been saying, corporate South Africans been sitting with cash on our balance sheet. People will only use that balance sheet when they realize that it's a right climate to invest, and in doing so, then there's a lot more opportunities that get created in the economy. That's how the world economy works.